number 4. During the last session, we have finished, and today we are going to start with unit number 5, which is about building pro forma financial statement for the organization, which is yet to be launched or started. So in that case, we are supposed to discuss the overview of financial statements. What are the first statements and how financial statements are made? And then secondly, you have to build pro forma for so if you are really in the mood to start your own business, then you need to consider a couple of the requirements which are supposed to be fulfilled. So take for example, if we talk about the expected revenue and the expenditure, you are going to start your own business. So please let me know after 3 months, 6 months, or a year how much you are going to earn, how much you are going to generate in the form of a revenue, and what possible cost you are expect to start that, and also your future forecast. And future forecast, also known as the revenue projection, means how come that cash will flow towards your company. So that is known as the revenue project. And ultimately, whenever you start your business, you have three options. Like you can produce your product or to sell it, or you may develop or produce services, or sometimes you go for combination. It's better to go through the books written on mark, so where you will easily understand the different forms and types of the product. And when you're supposed to develop the products, you are supposed incur the different costs, right? So what cost will be incurred to sell those products, for example, through communication, through advertisement, through distribution. So you need to and then another one is where you will put your operating, and then preliminary income statement, building integrated financial statements, income statement, balance sheet, and the cash flow statement. So to have a clear, eye on the business, you have to develop these different pro forma or different, the account related documents. So we have discussed all these like financial statement, pro forma financial statement, revenue. So everything you have to consider for your business. Okay. And now let's discuss what all these documents are all about. So start with let's discuss all of them, all the documentations one by one. The first one is building pro forma financial statement. So what is that? So pro forma, actually it's a Latin originated term which means for the sake of form or the matter of form. In the world of investing, pro forma refers to a method by which financial results are calculated. So in the simple words, you can say pro forma is an approach or is a method which really helps to calculate the financial results. What could be the financial results? At the end of the day, we would seek for profitability. And how profitability comes in? So that is derived from the revenue generated by offering, selling goods or products to the customers, and then reducing or minus or deducting the expense. Then profit comes in. Then how come these can be calculated? So there is an approach which is known as pro forma financial statement. So through pro forma financial statement, we can easily calculate the results for the organization. And this method of calculation places emphasis on present or projected figure. Present figure, that for example, sales for this month today is 14th September, and you might have the figure so far about the revenue or the sales. Then for the next 15 years, what will be that is known as the projected figure. And then how come October, November, December will show the results? So that will be a projected, forecasted, estimated कह सकते हैं आप. Entrepreneurs usually create pro forma statement to project future financial returns. Returns का मतलब भी यही है कि आपको कितना प्रॉफिट यानी रिटर्न ऑन इन्वेस्टमेंट, रिटर्न ऑन एसेट के ऊपर आपको मिलेगा when you start your pro forma statements are commonly included in the entrepreneur's business plan. जो आप बिजनेस प्लान बनाएंगे उसके अंदर ये pro forma statement होगी, यानी ये डॉक्यूमेंट उसके अंदर. Pro forma statement can also help entrepreneurs plan future business operation. It's very much true. It's very much relevant because when you feel this amount of money is expected to come in the form of a revenue or the profit, so you can plan your future ventures or future business operation based on the revenue you generate through one business. And now coming to the financial statement after the pro forma financial statement. Financial statements क्या अगर हम उसकी बात कर ले, financial statements are a useful tool in analyzing company's financial position and performance. पहले में हमने क्या कहा था कि हम उसके ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के फाइनेंशियल रिजल्ट्स को कैलकुलेट कर, जब कैलकुलेट कर लेते हैं तो उसके बाद हम हमारे पास बनती हैं फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स। जो फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स हैं वो बेसिकली क्या काम करती हैं, जो ऑर्गेनाइजेशन की करंट पोजीशन एंड द परफॉर्मेंस लेवल उसके बारे में वो आपको हेल्प करती है। एंड द थ्री मेन फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स आर, वो कौन सी स्टेटमेंट हो सकती हैं? वन इज नोन एज बैलेंस शीट, सेकंड is income statement, and the third statement of cash flow. So these three statements are supposed to be in a light that can really help the audience or the different investors and the business people to understand the current level or position of an organization. And the cash flow statement simply shows the company's cash. The balance sheet illustrates the company's book value, and the income statement shows how assets and liabilities are used. So there are three different statements and three different objectives which can be achieved through these statements. As you know, it is written the cash flow statement. So cash flow statement is developed. It helps to understand the company's activities related to cash, incoming, outgoing. And the balance sheet illustrate a company's book value, the current, the liability and the current assets of the company. And the income statement shows how assets and liabilities are. And the balance sheet shows the company's assets, liabilities, and shareholder equity. So that gives a clear picture of the organization in relation to the capital invested and the assets and the amount of liabilities what organization has. And the income statement, like the balance sheet, helps to illustrate the current value of the business, as I discussed. And the cash flow statement simply shows the company's cash activities, and it measures the flow of cash between a fund and its owners or its creditors to whom they have collected the money for that. And now we can, okay, let me just go back to this. Now we can have a little understanding of financial, like the role of financials, what financial statements do, internal and external users. For example, if somebody who is going to buy the company, if somebody who is to invest in the company, if somebody is going to have strategic alliance or partnership with the company. So if somebody wants to, deal with this company, so they ultimately go through the financial statements to make the right decision. And internal external users rely on company's financial statement to get in-depth understanding of the company's finance. यानी financial statements से पता चलेगा कि what is the real position of the company in relation to the fund. For internal users such as manager, financial statements of all the information necessary to plan, evaluate, and control operation. Because the financial statement really help the decision makers in that. If company wants to buy something like equipment, machinery, land, so that's financial statement will help them to make the decisions or to make the plan or to evaluate and the control of the operation. External users, as I told you before, such as investors and creditors, use the financial statements to gauge the future profitability and liquidity of the company. So in that case, we say yes, such kind of financial statements are always beneficial for the internal employee, internal decision makers, and also at the same time, it does offer help for the external users. As I told you, how come they can get help from that financial statement. Now, if you look at this slide, so you can easily understand. On the left hand side, you see the economic resources, for example, cash inventory. But on the other side, where's the liability plus stakeholders equity, which is known as the source of financing for the economic resource. And liabilities from creditors, stockholders equity from stockholders. So from this we can understand, okay, so what are the total liability, and on the left side what we, यानी कि हमारे पास है क्या इस वक्त और हमने देना कितना है. So there should be a balance between the both. So that case we say that is the balance. जी मैंने इतने पैसे लोगों के देने हैं और मेरे पास इतना जो है वो पैसा पड़ा हुआ है, इतना मेरे पास एसेट है, इतना मेरे पास स्टॉक है, इतनी मेरे पास गाड़ियां हैं. So in that case we say there is a need to be balanced between the. तो इसकी basis के ऊपर हम कह सकते हैं what this is all about. Take for example, look at this company XYZ company balance sheet. So the current debt, for example, what is the total amount of cash which is there in the bank or in the banks, and what is the total value of the inventory stocks available in the godown, and the other one is their debtor, and the total total current asset comes up like 355,000. And the non-current assets, for example, the building what company has, what the plant and the equipment what company holds, and the vehicles the company owns. So the total amount of the non-current asset comes up like 920,000. So now we can say the total asset of the company, that is now 121,275,000. So these are the total company or total assets what company has. And if we look at the downside of slide, so we can have the current liability के कंपनी ने कौन कौन सा लोगों को पे करना है, ऊपर जो है नीचे जो पे करना है. फॉर एग्जांपल क्रेडिट कार्ड 15,000 जिनसे उधार लिया, क्रेडिटर्स 110,000 टैक्स जो पे करना है 25,000, टोटल जो लाइबिलिटीज हैं वो है 100,000 जी, ये हमने देने हैं। और जो लॉन्ग टर्म लोन लिया हुआ है 700,000 का, ये हमारा है, जो टोटल 8,50,000। अब जो है वो हम ओनर्स इक्विटी देख लेते हैं। ओनर्स इक्विटी होती है जो कि इन्वेस्टमेंट अमाउंट होती है उसकी पार्टनर या ओनर्स। सो दिस इज कॉल्ड ओनर इक्विटी। कैपिटल लगाया था 100,000 और रिटेन्ड अर्निंग्स जो है उनके पास 250,000, करंट अर्निंग्स जो है 75,000। सो इन दैट केस दैट डिफरेंस कम्स इन 425,000 जो कि टोटल ओनर्स इक्विटी। तो ये एक पिक्चर है किस चीज की, बैलेंस शीट। ओके, और अगर आप इसमें देखें तो यहाँ पे 8,50,000 जो है ये एसेट्स हमारे पास हैं, और जो एम्प्लॉइज की इन्वेस्टमेंट पड़ी है हमारे पास वो 4,25,000 है। इक्विटी जो पड़ी हुई है, अर्निंग जो पड़ी हुई है, और ये जो है आपके टोटल एसेट्स और लाइबिलिटीज, ये दोनों बराबर। तो ये दोनों बराबर हो, बैलेंस शीट का मतलब होता है कि ये बैलेंस होना चाहिए। यानी कि यहाँ से पता चलता है 30 जून 2010 तक कंपनी ने कितने पैसे लोगों के देने थे और इनके पास है क्या, पड़ा क्या। So now let's discuss regarding the projections regarding the revenue of the company, what you are supposed to collect in the form of cash. So projections are estimates. Projection का मतलब क्या होता है, आप estimate करते हैं, forecast. वालेकुम सलाम. How are you, Ali? How's everything? Alhamdulillah. I was stuck, in some material. Projections are estimate and they assume that the existing pattern continues into the future. यानी कि what you expect कि भी हमारा कितना बिजनेस होगा, कितना रेवेन्यू आएगा, कितनी प्रोडक्ट्स बिकेगी, ये कुछ भी इसको आप नाम दे सकते हैं। एंड प्रोजेक्टेड रेवेन्यू रेफर्स टू द एस्टिमेटेड मनी a company will generate during that specified period of in the projection. For example, if you are going to, for example, sell shoes, then how many pairs of shoes will you be able to sell? Number one. Then how much amount of money you are expecting after the end of this first quarter, the second quarter, or after the 1 month, or after maybe a year. So what you are expecting. So that expectation about the money is known as projected forecast or revenue project. Then companies project revenue using a combination of research and internal knowledge. And for specific accounting reports, such as the sales or operating budgets, some companies use projected revenue to refer only to money that comes from the sale of core product. But in the simple words, you can say the revenue projection means that is the possible expected money upon selling the goods or services to the customers over a specific or specified period of time. For example, a business review its previous sales for the same, contact customers to ask about their future purchasing plan, review trade associations, research that projects consumer trends. यानी ये पता कैसे चलेगा कि for example if you have 100 customers and you're selling your product, so you can ask your customers के आपके ख्याल में next month आप कितना purchase कर, you ask the same question from 100 people, so they can give you some information. You can later on add all of the information values, so you can say कि जनाब अगले महीने अगले हमारी इतनी सेल होगी. So what did you do? So आपने expect किया based on research, based on getting information. And if the company plans to generate revenue from the investment income or by one time sales of land, तो दूसरे किस तरह से हो सकते हैं, कुछ जमीन बेच दे कंपनी के शेयर्स कुछ बेच दे, तो वहां से भी आपको इनकम या एसेट बेच से भी आपको रेवेन्यू जनरेट हो सकता है कि जो हमारी गाड़ी हमारी बिल्डिंग ये वाली वो बिक जाएगी तो उसके बाद हम कर. नंबर 2,